Welcome to the podcast about stories from the center of the universe. I'm Daniel Lance.
I'm Paul Gilman, and this is Pod 1.
This episode we have Rolando Lamb, who is a VCU Hall of Fame basketball player. He is also currently a coach, pastor, and motivational speaker. In our conversation, we discuss Rolando's upbringing in Portsmouth, Virginia, the attention he received in high school as a result of being an athletic phenom, his basketball career at VCU, getting drafted to the NBA, and how he has kept basketball in his life ever since. We hear about some of the characters that he interacted with on and off the court, including teammate and former podcast guest Calvin Duncan. Calvin and Rolando together were named one of the top 5 backcourts in the nation during their prime, and they remain loyal friends to this day. Finally, Rolando tells us about his work with Faith and Family Church here in Richmond and his work as a motivational speaker. So without further ado, here is Rolando Lamb. Well, Coach, welcome to Pod 1.
Yes, great to be here.
Now, we should say Coach Rolando Lamb, because that is your name.
That's my name. You said Coach Lamb, though.
Coach Lamb.
Yeah, Coach Lamb. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I've been following your career since you played for VCU. I was in high school when you were in college, and you and Calvin were prolific. And I should tell our listening audience that we connected to you through Calvin.
Yes.
And so I'm excited that you are here in my house recording this. This makes me very, very happy. And it's not great weather outside. Like the roads are not great, but you trekked over here from Chesterfield to be in Ashland, Virginia, and we're excited to have you.
Yes.
Please tell me about growing up in Portsmouth.
Well, growing up in Portsmouth, I got great memories about that because I grew up without my father. My mother raised 5 kids by herself, 4 boys and a girl. My grandmother had 17 kids, 5 sets of twins. And so I'm serious. I come from a huge family, aunts, uncles everywhere. Unfortunately, most of the people I grew up with, they're either dead, in jail, or on drugs. And so, but it was 3 things that saved my life. It was faith in God, my mother's rod of correction, and sports. Those were the 3 things that saved my life because early on, my mother, she was an incredible woman. She was determined. She was a woman of faith. And she was determined not to let the streets get her boys or get her kids. Because, she, like I said, she had 4 boys and a girl. And so her whole philosophy was, you going to obey or I'm going to kill you.
There you go.
So that was a strong motivation to do right. So, but yeah, it seemed like my childhood went by so fast. I started playing basketball at an early age and got really good, and that's what I did. I played a lot of ball, got bullied by my brothers and cousins and uncles and all them, but I was getting better the whole time, getting better. So that's a little something about my childhood in Portsmouth.
Did you say your mom's rod of correction?
Rod of correction, yes, sir.
What did the rod of correction look like?
Oh, it was anything. It was, it could be a broom. It was definitely switches. I remember she used to tell us, go out there and get those switches. And I go out there and get switches. I try to get the smallest ones. She get mad. She said, I'm going to go get them. I was in trouble there. So, but no, it could be anything. It could be a shoe. It could be a belt.
So Rolando, Daniel's so young that he probably spanking was not a thing.
He can't
back
understand.
in the day.
I'm a softie, yeah.
So what number were you out of the 5?
I was the baby boy.
And your sister was younger than you?
My sister's younger than me, and I was the baby boy.
Oh,
Yep.
You had 3 older brothers.
3 older brothers.
Oof.
Absolutely.
That toughened you up.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Yeah, it was like I said, I was bullied. I mean, they bullied me, and they tried to toughen me up and all that. But but it was good. They looked out for me though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, they looked
only
out
they could bully you.
Only they could bully
Yeah,
me. Nobody else
that's
could,
right.
but
That's
only
right.
they. So it worked out.
So talk to us about high school basketball. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Craddock High School in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Right.
And I never forget my high school basketball coach, John Sumner. man, he loved me like a son. And really, he was like a father figure to me because I grew up without my father. And so, but he saw me play when I was much younger, when I was in the 6th grade. I played in little leagues and that kind of stuff. And he couldn't wait to get his hands on me when I got to high school. And he was just so tough on me. But that's what I needed. I needed somebody to push me because I had the ability, I had the giftings and the talent, but I was lazy. And so he would push me and challenge me, fuss at me and all that. And so, but we had a great relationship, and he really helped me through my career. I remember I was in the 10th grade, and I wasn't in the starting lineup. He told me this. He said, the first time you score 20 points, I'll put you in the starting lineup. And so he saw that, I needed some motivation. I was just going through the motions. And so the 6th game into the season, I ended up scoring 20 points. And exactly 20 points. So he came to me and said, you're going to start now. I thought he had forgot about it. But he was such a man of principles, man of his word. He stuck to it. And ever since then, he put me in the starting lineup and didn't look back. And so that was the beginning of me really doing good in basketball in high school.
And you were always a point guard?
Well, yeah, I always was a point guard, and because I remember asking him, what position do you think I need to play? He said, well, you can play any position, but point guard I think would be your position for the future. So that's the position I played, and I'm glad he advised me on that.
How tall are you, Ro?
I'm 6'2.5", 6'3".
Okay, so you could have played shooting guard.
Right, I could have played shooting guard.
But
exactly.
Your handles are nice.
My handles is good enough for me to play point guard. They were good enough for me to play point guard, yeah.
All right, so you got recruited. Were schools looking at you when you were like a sophomore or junior, or not until your senior year?
When I became a junior, I was scoring a lot of points. I was averaging 27 points a game. And so now schools started to hear about me, and they was like, who is this kid from Portsmouth? I went to a basketball camp, first camp I ever went to in Georgia. It was one of the top basketball camps in the country for high school basketball players. I went to that particular camp and did very well. After that, my name was all over. And so that's when the recruiting was just crazy. I mean, a bunch of schools, especially here, ODU, Virginia Tech, VCU, I mean, all the schools. Some ACC schools, but like Maryland, NC State, but they didn't recruit me as hard.
Yeah.
And so, but it came down to VCU, Virginia Tech, and ODU. And, of course, I chose VCU.
And all three teams were pretty good back then.
Oh, yeah, they were great teams. Yeah, they were great teams. And, because my senior year, I averaged 29 points. I led the state in scoring, all that. And so, I mean, it was a fierce battle between those guys because at that time, there were no recruiting restrictions. So they was at all the games, every game. I mean, they could talk to you after the games.
This is before the shoe companies got involved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was just incredible. I mean, I would see these guys all the time. It was just so funny. And so I remember this, that I put the word out, I'm going to make the announcement that Wednesday, that what school I was going to. I never forget, Tubby Smith, he was the assistant coach at VCU. Because these guys try to watch your every move and all that. He parked his car outside of my house across the street, slept in his car to see where I was going to go, what I was doing. I mean,
and this was Tubby Smith, who was an assistant coach of J.D. Barnett, right?
Right.
And he was also one of the lead recruiters.
Absolutely.
Or he's probably the lead recruiter. He ended up coaching for a while at Kentucky and a few other schools.
Yeah, I mean
he was very prolific, well-known coach.
Oh, yeah, legendary. Tubby Smith, legendary, won the national championship at Kentucky. I mean, went on to a bunch of other schools. I mean, Tubby, well-respected in the game. And I'd be surprised if he's not in the Hall of Fame as a coach.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah.
He one of the best. And I've seen Tubby. Tubby did it the right way. And I love Tubby. He's a great man.
So I interrupted you. Tubby was sleeping in his car that Tuesday night
Yes.
before you declared on Wednesday.
Yes, I had announced that, hey, I'm going to make the announcement Wednesday. So he's sleeping in his car because these guys watching every move you make. Like I said, there were no NCAA restrictions as far as recruiting. And so he slept in his car, all that. It was just so funny. And then Oliver Purnell was at ODU.
Yep.
And Frankie Allen was the assistant coach at Virginia Tech. So they was battling each other. I mean, but Tubby just out-battled them guys. I mean, he slept in his car. But
Did you
yes.
know before you announced? You were like, it's VCU, I'm going to announce it on Wednesday? Or did you just say, I'm going to announce on Wednesday and decide at some point before then?
I still did not know. I did not know. That night I went to bed, that Tuesday night, I was like, But when I woke up, I had a good idea.
Did you know that Tubby had slept outside?
I did not know that, but we saw a car over there. We said, "Why that car still?" But we didn't. I did not know, and so Tubby he did tell the story about that. But yeah, I mean, the recruiting was so fierce. I mean, it was just incredible. But like I said, those guys was at all the games, and because I was considered back then the prize catch, the prize recruit in the state of Virginia.
For good reason, I think.
Well, you're scoring 29 points a game, and this is back when there were 8-minute quarters.
Yep.
Right. So it's only a 32-minute game.
32-minute game.
And there's no 3-point line.
No 3-pointers. No 3-pointers. So, it was fun.
What's the math on the 32 minutes again?
8-minute quarters.
It's not 10-minute quarters?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not in high school. I think it's still that way, right? Still 8-minute.
It's still that way, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still that way.
Yeah. That's Tubby Smith never slept outside. I played high school basketball. I did not average 29 points.
Yes. So it was great, though. Great.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the recruiting, it was just them showing up to games, talking to you after games. Did they try to take you out on trips or to dinner or like any of that?
Yeah. They always take you out and,
And there weren't rules against that back then. Right?
I mean, no. I mean, when they're recruiting you, they could take you out to dinner and that kind of stuff. And I mean, they didn't give me no money like that or buy me a car. No, that didn't happen. But yeah, they did what they could do, within the rules. And then of course I took visits to the school as well. So, but it was great because when you're that young, right? You're that young, and you're getting all this attention. You're just loving it. I mean, you're just loving it. Now, when it's time to make the decision, now it's all of a sudden you gotta face these guys. You gotta tell somebody you're not coming to this.
Yeah.
You're telling everybody you're not coming except the one you choose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But along the way, you develop a good relationship with these guys.
Right.
Paul Webb and all these guys. And they good people. But then you got to look at them and say, no, I'm not coming there. So,
Where was Paul Webb? Was he at ODU?
He was at ODU.
Yeah.
He was the head coach there. And like you said, they had some great teams. I mean, ODU was good. Virginia Tech was good. I mean, and the thing about Virginia Tech was, now my high school coach played for the head coach at Virginia Tech. So, even though my high school coach didn't put pressure on me in any way, but I think he would have liked me to go to, that was his coach.
Yeah.
But,
Did you stay in touch with your high school coach after you went to VCU?
Oh, yeah. He was like a father figure to me. And, I still stay in touch with him right today. Yep.
Wow. And your mom and your sister and your brothers, did they come to your games in high school and at VCU?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They all came to the games and loved it. And I was able to get them some tickets. And,
Nice.
But, yeah, they were very supportive, very supportive.
Did your brothers and sister play basketball?
Well, my oldest brother, he played football in high school, and that was it for him. My other brother, he played high school basketball, which was good. He was a good player. Then he played at Shawan Junior College. It was a junior college at that time. And he played 2 years there, hurt his knee, and then he didn't play anymore. Then my other brother, he played in high school. Good player, but he was undersized. He was about 6'2" power forward and going to the next level. It just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, it doesn't translate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, did you start right away?
At VCU?
Uh-huh.
I did. I did.
Did Calvin start right away?
Calvin didn't start right away.
Oh. Should I have brought that up with Calvin?
No, that's great. No, that's a great question because see, one of the reasons I went to VCU because Edmund Sherrod had moved on. He had graduated. And the point guard spot was open. Monty Knight, who was the 2 guard, he had that position sewn up. Right. So that's a position Calvin played. So he wasn't going to start, even though Calvin played a lot, but he didn't start. And when I got to VCU, that year of my life was the toughest year of my life because J.D. Barnett, I just got to say it like this. He was the coach from hell.
he was a hard-nosed guy, right?
To say the least.
Yeah.
I'm like, who you cursing? I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, so I did not like playing for him. And so I remember this is how I got into the starting lineup. I remember we was getting ready to play up at UVA in a tip-off tournament. And so JD said, after shoot around, JD said, hey, come here. I said, yes, sir. You're going to start tonight. I said, huh? You're going to start.
First starting game was against UVA.
It wasn't against, it was in that tournament.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was in the tournament up at UVA. So he told me I was going to start. And I had no idea. I'm like, huh? He said, yeah, you're going to start. I was so scared because I hadn't been practicing well. I hadn't adjusted to college ball. It was just a shock. And so he told me that, and I was like, so that's how I started at VCU. I was scared.
What game was that? One of the first games of the year?
Yep. I think we played somebody like George Mason, somebody like that. And they beat us. They sure did. They beat us. And so we didn't get to play UVA. But
so you started basically your entire college career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And did Calvin start the next year?
Oh yeah.
I just want to get that out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Calvin did start 3 years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Monty Knight was a really good shooting guard.
Great shooter. Yep. Yeah. Great shooting guard. And him and that particular year he was a senior. Kenny Stansel. You remember Kenny Stansel, the big guy?
Yep.
They were the seniors, and they were the best players on the team at that time.
Who was in your recruiting class besides Calvin? It was you two, and who else?
Oh man, Mike Slagle. Remember Mike Slagle. Then we had Fred Brown, Randy Corker. Those were the main guys coming in.
I mean, that was a heck of a recruiting class.
Oh, it was, yeah.
And was that mostly Tubby?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tubby was the man. Tubby's a great recruiter. Right today. I mean, he's a great recruiter. You know, look, matter of fact, I was talking with Tubby about I got a lot of funny stories, man. I was talking with Tubby about probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And I remember when my son was playing. My son was in the 10th grade, right? And I knew he was going to be good. I called Coach up.
This is Jeremy we're talking about.
This is Jeremy, right? Yeah. I said, Coach. I said, my son. I said, Coach, you need to check him out. He going to be good. Now, here's the thing. We were homeschooling our kids. We homeschooled our kids, right? So I said, Coach, I said, he going to be good. He said, where he playing at? I said, well, we homeschool him. He said, oh, he can't play. He can't play. I said, Coach, I'm telling you. He said, no. He said, homeschool kids cannot play. My son becomes a senior in high school. All the schools want him. I mean, Kentucky, Florida, UConn, all of them. Syracuse.
All the big ones.
All of them. Tubby called me up. Tubby said, hey, Ro, how you doing? I said, hey, Coach. He said, hey, you know, he said, I want to talk to you about your son. I said, Coach, it's too late, Coach.
Yeah.
I tried.
Where were you 2 years ago?
I said, Coach, it's too late. I mean, it was so funny, man. I said, Coach, I tried it. Because, listen, we wanted our son to play for Tubby.
Yeah.
I'm serious, because we knew.
Well, was he at Kentucky at the time?
At that time, he was at Minnesota. I mean, it
Yeah.
still was a top-level school.
Sure.
Top school.
Mm-hmm.
And so we laughed about it. We talked about it and laughed about it. He said, bro, I just didn't know.
But he made an assumption about homeschool kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he was.
I tried to tell him.
Are there other homeschool kids that have made it into the NBA?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a few now. Yeah.
Believe it or not, Blake Griffin was homeschooled.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Blake Griffin was homeschooled, and so it's been not a whole bunch of them, but it's been a few. But
And homeschooled until high school? Like, how do they end up getting noticed?
well, we homeschooled them up till high school, and then now my oldest son, we homeschooled him all the way up to the 12th grade, and that hurt him.
Right.
And he didn't get the looks, didn't get noticed. And so my other two sons, I said, no, we're going to put them in an environment where they can get exposed. And so that's what we did with them. But yeah, it's a stereotype out there that if you homeschool, you can't play. And that's not always the case.
I think what Tubby was thinking probably was there wasn't a ton of competition.
Yeah,
when they're being homeschooled.
and he mentioned that. Mentioned that, but I told him, I said, Coach, I'm training him, I'm working him out, I'm doing,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
The level of competition and all that. So,
All right, so Ro, you have lots of fond memories of playing at VCU, I'm sure. One of them is, was it your junior year against Northeastern in the tournament?
Yes.
Can you walk us through that? And by the way, anybody who's listening to this, just Google Rolando Lamb, and this video, I think, pops up first.
well, you know what? That was an interesting time in my life because things were not going well. I was in JD's doghouse. He took me out the starting lineup, and it, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a transfer, and it's just over. It's just over. But that's also the time where I had given my life to the Lord, and all this was all new to me. I just knew that I needed some help. I needed a sense of purpose, and I wasn't doing right in the classroom, and I just wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And so we make the NCAA tournament, and like I said, I wasn't starting, but I was still playing. I was averaging probably about 20, 25 minutes a game, so I was still getting my playing time.
You were in the top 7 rotation.
Right. Oh, yeah. I definitely was in top rotation. So, that whole game was an incredible game. I believe
They were leading the whole game.
they were leading the whole game. I believe, if I can remember correctly, they shot like 75% from the field.
It's crazy.
I mean, it was incredible. I don't know if you remember this young man, Reggie Lewis.
They ended up dying. Way too early, yeah.
But that particular game, he was a freshman. He shot 15 for 17. He scored 31 points. We was like, who is this? I mean, he didn't miss anything. I mean, it was a phenomenal game.
It's crazy.
It's truly one of those games where whoever have the ball last is going to win.
Right.
Because we shot 69% from the field.
That's crazy.
Burning it up. I mean, it was just up and down, up and down, up and down. Just incredible. So now, 2 seconds left. The ball is under our basket. We're taking it out. JD called timeout. He calls a play, and the play was supposed to go to Calvin. Right?
The announcers were even saying that.
Absolutely. Oh, he was our best player. Get the ball to Calvin. And that particular year, Calvin had a great year. I mean, he was the man. He was our best player. So we set a pick. We set a double pick for Calvin. He came around, and they double teamed him. And then the guy who was taking the ball out, Michael Brown, he hated taking the ball out. I mean, he would throw.
Because he was a really good shooter.
Oh, he was a good shooter.
Yeah.
And he would always throw you the ball and take off running. He wanted no parts of the ball. And so he was taking it out. We set a double pick for Calvin. He came around. They double teamed him. I backed out, and all of a sudden Mike panicked and threw me the ball. I was like, I caught it, and of course it was only 2 seconds left. I just turned and shot it. It was like the whole world just stopped. It was like, ah!
Yeah, the place went nuts.
It went nuts in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and yeah, I mean it was just pandemonium. Hit the floor. I said, "Thank you, God." Everybody just jumped on me, and so JD was like, "I love you. I love you." I was so mad. If you ever go back and look at that, he hugs me at the end. I'm like, I kind of
This guy. Yeah.
I would have nothing to do with him, but yeah, that's how it went down. Great memory. Great memory.
Well, and the coach for the opposing team at Northeastern
Jim Calhoun.
was Jim Calhoun.
Yeah.
And you have a connection to Jim Calhoun after that game.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at that tape, right, he walks off so dejected. He was like...
He looked back like he couldn't believe what just
He
happened.
couldn't believe what happened. And so, look, 30 years later, he calls me up, right? He calls me up. He said, hey, this is Jim Calhoun. You owe me. You owe me. I said, I owe you what? He said, oh, you owe me your son. Hey, you hit that shot. I said, Coach, I was just doing my job, Coach.
Right.
So we had a great laugh about that. But that's how the recruiting started with Jeremy. And it was, I mean, Jeremy played in this tournament called the Peach Jam. This is where all the top AAU teams play. And so Jeremy was playing just incredible. The assistant coach from UConn was there. He calls Jim Calhoun. He said, Coach, you got to come see this kid. Now, at this point in Jim Calhoun's career or coaching career, he wasn't traveling. He didn't go out to see players. He sent his assistants out. He said, Coach, you got to come see this Lamb kid. Now, the interesting thing about that, Jim Calhoun was at Rip Hamilton's wedding.
Oh.
He left the wedding.
Wow.
To come up in there. And so when he came in there, everybody was like, they was whispering, who is he here to see? Because they knew he didn't come to games like that. Come to find out, he came to see my son, Jeremy. He had to see him himself. And so when he saw Jeremy, he said, oh, yeah, we want him. That's who we want.
Did they know that he was your son before he showed up at that tournament?
They made the connection.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he had made the connection. And so, it was so funny, man. He called me up. Hey, you owe me. You owe me your son.
He left Rip Hamilton's wedding. Rip was one of his better players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that was one of his selling points, too, to my son, Jeremy. He said, hey, you built like Rip. Hey, you play like him. He said, hey, you see, he's in the NBA, so, But Jim Calhoun, he was known for developing those wing players.
Right.
And you talking about Rip Hamilton, Ray Allen, Ben Gordon. I mean, a bunch of guys who played that. Reggie Lewis.
Yeah.
Bunch of them guys who played that position. Same position my son played. So that was a very attractive means of wanting to go to UConn.
And he won a national championship there.
In his first year. Can you believe that?
And you were there
I
for
was
that
there.
game, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
It's crazy, right?
It was incredible. I mean, because early on in the season, you had Kemba Walker and a bunch of freshmen. And Kemba put that team on his back, and, man, they just played incredible. Now, near the end of the season, they weren't playing well. And when they went into the Big East tournament, everybody was saying they're going to get knocked out early and, whatever. They end up winning the Big East tournament. They played.
Which is a hard tournament to win.
Very hard. I mean, listen, 5 straight games, 5 straight days. And they played Pitt, they played Syracuse, and played Louisville and Georgetown. I mean, it was extremely hard, but they did it. They did it. Won the championship, Big East championship. Incredible.
It's back when the Big East was the Big East.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so now the NCAA come up. Everybody said, well, they tired. They put out all this energy. There's no way they can do it. They won the first game, the second game. They just kept winning. I mean, it was one of the most incredible runs. It was similar to remember NC State when they made that run?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was like that.
Well, I
was magic.
I don't think any team's ever won 11 games in a row between their conference tournament and the NCAA.
Right, not like that.
Yeah.
Because they had to play so many games because it was so many teams in the Big East.
Right.
They had to play all those games leading up to the NCAA tournament. Yeah, but they did it.
I'm tired just thinking about it.
It was phenomenal. I mean, it was incredible. Really. It was incredible.
Wow. And when you were at VCU, did y'all make runs at NCAA?
We did. First year we did not, but our last 3 years we made great runs into the NCAA. We never could get out of the first round though, and I remember my senior year. Our senior year, we were ranked.
And when you say first round, you're talking about the first two, the Thursday, Friday, then the Saturday,
Right.
Sunday.
Right. And so our senior year, we was seeded. Get this, we were seeded number 2 out in the West. I mean, we had a great team. I mean, we should have definitely went further, but we got bumped out by Alabama.
Who was the 7 seed or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we had won that game, we would have gone to the Sweet 16. But we got bumped.
Y'all had a great team. Your
had a great
your
team.
last 2 years, y'all were
We
awesome.
had great teams. We really did.
All right, so let's talk about the art of stealing a basketball. You are all-time second in steals, and who's number 1, by the way?
Weber.
Quick, man, that dude is quick.
Oh yeah, he tough. He tough.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But you're right there with him, and so when you stole the ball, was it typically off the dribble or was it off the pass?
It was it was some of both. I was thinking about that, and one of the things I had was great anticipation. I had a great feel for the game, but more than anything, great anticipation. I mean, I could see somebody coming down. I can anticipate what they were going to do with the pass. You know, who they was going to pass it to, and so that's how I got a lot of my steals. And then I would study how guys dribble, and I could pick their pockets like that. So it was some of both, but I would say the feel of the game and having anticipation, being able to anticipate the pass.
And if you bite, you know, if you make a lunge in a certain direction, then they wouldn't pass to that person. So it's also like timing's really important too. You have to anticipate, then your timing's got to be on point.
If you're a tenth of a second too early,
right,
you're not going to get it.
Right. And then the other thing I had going for me was I had long arms, long arms. So yeah, especially somebody playing against me for the first time. Oh, it throws them off.
My friend T. Bell, who I think you may have met a couple times, connected me to Calvin. Like after decades had passed since y'all had left college and we had left high school, and he was a season ticket holder, and their season tickets were right behind the opposing team's bench. And he said he can't count the number of times you would steal the ball, go in for an easy layup, and the other team would call a timeout, and he would just give the other team grief about how they let you get away with another steal.
Yeah. I mean, a feel for the game and anticipations. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, and you were quick too.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't lightning quick, but you know, I was quick enough.
Yeah.
Quick enough. Yeah.
What does it feel like when you're out there in the middle of a game, looking for steals and just playing? Like, what was that like?
Well, I knew that the thing about my coach, J.D. Barnett, he wanted us to play position defense. So he really wasn't big on me getting steals. However, once he saw that I was good at it, he gave me a little leeway.
Yeah.
And he would say, hey, if you think you can get it, go ahead and go for it. But if you don't get it, I mean, so that's how it went down. I mean, but he did give me a little leeway in that particular area because he saw I was good at it.
And he was your coach all 4 years.
Oh yeah, he was there all 4 years. Yeah.
Was Tubby tough as hell, or was he more laid back?
Well, Tubby was more laid back because, you know, I would talk with Tubby, Coach Smith. I was like, Coach, I can't take. He said, no, it's gonna make you better. You know, so he was more like, you know, bad cop, good cop.
Yeah.
He was the good cop. You
Yeah.
know? He was telling me the stuff I need to work on. So, but no, Tubby was smooth. Tubby was so cool and so smooth, and he helped me out, you know, a lot.
Did you have any like mental rituals, or how did the team prepare for games in the lead up?
Man, my ritual, I just try to pray, man. I said, Lord, help me, Lord, help me get But different people had different stuff, and I pretty much, you know, like to get to myself and be quiet and try to visualize and meditate on what I needed to do in the game. And so didn't talk to a lot of people, and just so that's normally how I would prepare. But the thing about that for me was I used to play not to make mistakes, and that's not good.
Nope.
Because if I make a mistake, done, that was the horn, meaning I'm coming out of the game. So I had to play looking over my shoulder, and that just because. Now I told you in high school I averaged 29 points a game. I get to college, my first year I only averaged 6 points a game.
Yeah.
So I wasn't used to that, but because I played scared, because I played looking over my shoulder, shots I normally would take that I knew I could make, I played hesitant. And so, you know.
Calvin didn't play that way, did he?
Calvin never saw a shot. He never. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, and you know, it's so funny. Most of them guys from New York, New Jersey, I mean, they confident. They gonna take every shot they could take. And so, but no, one thing about Calvin, he was good for me because he would always encourage me, and we would always play one-on-one. And he was the type of guy, if you wanted to get better, he was going to help you get better. That's just how he was. And so that's one of the reasons why we developed such a close bond that we have now.
Like he wasn't trying to be the best and outcompete everybody. He was like on your side.
No, he going to beat you. No, he going to destroy you. Oh, no, it won't no.
It's not kumbaya.
Right. There ain't no kumbaya moments with him. He going to destroy you. And then he'll talk to you, but he going to destroy you. Oh, yeah. No, he's one of the most competitive persons and players that I ever played with. Oh, yeah, without question.
I can see that. So you and Calvin, I think it was either your senior year or your junior year, Street and Smith basketball magazine. I guess that still comes out, or some form of, maybe it's on the internet or something. But y'all were considered the best backcourt in the country.
It was our senior year, and we was considered one of the top 5 backcourts in the country. And I mean, really, I remember Dick Vitale was talking about it. I mean, it was legitimate though. Yeah, we got the respect, and they really saw how we was able to lead our team, because at that time, I believe I averaged like 17 points. Calvin averaged like 15 points, but we made everything go.
Right.
I mean, offensively, defensively, we were the leaders, and at that point, JD trusted us. And he looked to us to lead that team. And so, we were one of the top 5 backcourts in the country. And at the end of the year, we was ranked 11th in the whole country. So, you know, we had some great teams.
Tell us a little bit more about the role of the backcourt. Like, do you make plays on the fly or like pre-made plays?
Now, we have to remind our audience that he grew up overseas. And you didn't play a ton of basketball.
I did not.
So
no.
backcourt is the point guard, the shooting guard.
Okay. So point guard is like Steph Curry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much the person who handles the ball, set up the plays, get the ball to the different people.
Sort of quarterback of the team.
Exactly. And so now we had set plays, right? But we saw sometimes where, when I say we, I'm talking about me and Calvin, we saw sometimes where we could do something to break away from the play to get an easy basket. And so we had developed such a camaraderie on the court, he knew what I was thinking. I knew what he was thinking. And we make just glance at each other. And he cut back door, bounce pass, layup. So so we broke away from the plays sometimes to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
So but we developed that over time. And the coach recognized that. And again, he gave us some leeway in that. Now, our freshman, sophomore years, he won't. He won't.
It's back when you were looking over your shoulder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, y'all were special. I think you felt like VCU, the school rallied around the team, and the city of Richmond kind of went crazy for y'all.
The support was phenomenal. The support was great, and you could feel it, man. I mean, you could feel it when you go to the stadium. And at that time, we played at the Richmond Coliseum,
right?
And be packed. I mean, 10,000 sellout.
That's a big place.
Oh yeah. But it's something about the adrenaline when you see all those people in there, and you want to play your best. You want to play your best, and a lot of times we did.
It didn't make you nervous. It actually pumped you up.
Absolutely, it pumped you up. It pumped you up because again, you wanted to represent the brand of basketball that you was known for. And we was known for hard-nosed, good defense. Whoever we played, they knew that they were in for a dogfight that night. Oh, yeah, they knew that. So,
all right, tell us about one more fond memory of your college days.
Whew, oh, my goodness. Let me see. I remember when my sophomore year. No, I give you this. Senior year, right? We in the NCAA tournament. And Calvin and I, we had just got saved. We gave our life to the Lord. And so, but this particular game, we wanted to do something different. And so we was in our room talking, and we came up with this idea. We said, let's shave our heads. They said, what? I said, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's shave our heads. So, and I
remember this.
So I had a set of clippers, and so we shaved our heads. And the thing about that, the couple of other players who was already on the team, Mike Brown and Neil Wake, they already had shaved heads. So we go in there, and we had hats on, so nobody knew we had shaved it. So when it was time to go out, we took our hats off. Everybody was like, so we get out there, right? And that was one of the worst games that we played. We was missing shots. It was just terrible. And we still didn't lose by a lot of points, but we lost. And if we had only hit a couple shots, we could have won. Man, when we got back to Richmond, people on the radio, they crucified us. And this is what they said. They said, I thought they were Christians. Didn't they know when Samson cut his hair, he lost his strength? What are they doing? Oh, man, it was so, oh, man, we felt so bad. We were like, oh, my goodness. And so that's how we went out. That's how we ended our senior year, man.
You got to shake it up sometimes, though.
Yeah, you do.
So when was the draft, NBA draft back then? What time of year?
It was in June. Yep, the draft was in June, and we both got drafted. I was drafted in the 3rd round to Seattle Supersonics, and should have made it, but I didn't. And I went into a state of depression because you got to understand now, from a little child, all the way up to that point of thinking I'm going to make it.
You had never been cut.
Never been cut.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had experienced all this success, and I'm just thinking, oh yeah, I know I'm going to make it, and end up getting cut, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, and I went into a state of depression, and it was like, what I'm going to do now? And my mother, she prayed for me and she encouraged me. And so what I decided to do was play in the CBA, which is now like the G League.
Right.
And so, but at that point when I played, it didn't feel the same. I just felt like, yeah, I'm just doing it because other people want me to do it, but my heart wasn't in it at that point. But I still played 2 years in the CBA, and from there, I began to see my life's purpose. Because when I was in the CBA, what they did was they would get us to go out to schools to do PR work for the team, and it was sad because some of the guys I was playing with, they would go in and we would talk about say no to drugs. Well, these guys was doing drugs. And I'm like, I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at everything around me, and I'm looking at the level of hypocrisy.
They were living the NBA life in the CBA. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but going in telling these kids don't do drugs, but yet you're doing drugs yourself, I'm like, I said, there gotta be another way. And so from that point, my second year in the CBA was over. I was contemplating whether I was going to play my third year. And at that point, I decided, boom, I'm going to stop playing. I started doing some work with young people in the church and in detention centers. And then I started doing a lot of motivational speaking and just, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing, using basketball and doing camps, training as a means to reach people, especially our young people, because they gravitate to sports.
Yeah, it works.
It works. It works. And so I've been able to write books, develop some seminars. You know, I was talking to University of Kentucky's basketball team some years ago, and I asked the guys the question. I said, what's your position on the team? And of course, they all knew their position: point guard, power forward. I said, now, what's your position in life? I said, what's your position? I asked the whole team. Not one knew. Not one guy knew their position in life. I began to teach them. I said, the sport you play is what you do. It's not who you are. The real you is your character. That's the real you. And I began to teach them about the importance of character and realizing that playing sports is just a part of your life. It's not your life. And I began to tell them about what I went through as far as the depression and, you know, having a false identity. And so those are just some of the life lessons I still teach these guys right today in the seminars that I do. And it's very, very powerful and very effective. So that's what we're teaching them.
So you're joining the NBA was like kind of your identity, or that was your position in life, and then when that didn't happen, you think that's what maybe caused the depression?
Absolutely, because again, basketball was everything to me. I put all my eggs in one basket. I'm gonna make the NBA. And when I didn't make it, I'm like, who am I? What can I do? And that's what threw me into the depression, because now I had to face all these people. They telling me, you know, I know you're gonna make it, good job and all. Mm-hmm. I'm like, now I gotta go back and face these people, and just the level of embarrassment, the humiliation come with all that.
Yeah, because that's public, right?
Oh, it's public.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody from Portsmouth knew about it.
Everybody
from VCU knew.
Everybody. And so it was just an ugly time in my life. Yeah.
But now that you're, you're still a relatively young man, but now that you're a little bit older, you understand that basketball is a wonderful endeavor. It's a wonderful sport, but it's not everything.
Absolutely. And that's what I've taught my kids, and especially my son Jeremy, because last year he had a major knee injury. He was out for almost a year. He just actually came back, but he torn it, ACL, and it potentially could have been a career-ending injury. And thank God he's been able to come back. But again, having a balanced life and looking at life with the right perspective, realizing that, you could get hurt and your career is over. Who are you? What are you going to do then?
Right.
You see? And so this is a message that we're teaching these guys as we're working with them.
So you're not only a motivational speaker and a former basketball legend at VCU, you're also a pastor.
I am.
Talk to us about your pastoral work.
Well, I was living in Atlanta, and when my mother was having some health challenges, so about 5 years ago, I relocated back here to Richmond. She was living in Portsmouth, and so when I moved back, that's when I teamed back up with Calvin. He's the pastor at Faith and Family Church, and so some of the responsibilities, my main responsibility is I oversee the men at the church. And when I say I oversee the men, it's a tremendous responsibility because men set the standard in society. They're the examples. And so challenging these men to be all that God has called them to be is a tremendous endeavor, but I love it because Calvin can't do it all, even though he think he can. He can't do it all. And so, but it's been a great fit for me to be able to come in and help. Also, I'm one of the leaders on the intercessory prayer team. And so being a pastor, the most important thing is not the title, but is being the right kind of example. That's the most important thing, being the right kind of example and getting the respect that you need to lead men, because men not gonna follow you if they think you phony or if they think you're fake. They just not gonna follow you. And that's the way it should be. And so so coming alongside of Pastor Duncan, it's been a great privilege. You know, we mess with each other. We say, hey, we did it on the basketball court. Now we got to do it for God. So we have a good time with it.
That's great. There's a community center that's part of the church family, right? Or do I have that wrong?
There's a, we have on our campus, we just actually, within the last, I believe, year and a half, 2 years, we had a new building built, which is our worship center. And so the building that we were in, we made that a community center where we're reaching out to the community and we're having seminars on how to eat right, how to exercise, academic excellence. I mean, because it's not just the church teaching the word, but it's about being able to apply the word to your everyday life.
Right.
And so, but yes, that's where the community center come in.
And so with COVID-19, people aren't coming in, I'm assuming, and so y'all are doing a lot of teaching virtually?
A lot of teaching virtually. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And so the other thing we're doing, though, like during the holidays, we put together, we was able to feed over 100 families. And so you said, well, how you do that? Well, we box up the food with turkeys and all that, and we'll place them on the porches. Or we work through the school system because one of our members is a principal at one of the schools. And so we were able to distribute the food through the schools, or we take them through the houses. But you're right. With COVID, that's changed the game. I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. And so we've had to get creative. And yes, we've done a lot of stuff. You can call my middle name is probably Zoom. I never been on. I didn't know a Zoom existed. I'm like,
Zoom has done quite well.
Quite well. Right.
Yeah.
So you've been doing a lot of motivational speaking over Zoom too.
I have been doing a lot of it, and it's been good. I mean, I can just sit at the house and get paid. Hey, but no, it's not going anywhere. I mean, this technology, all this stuff, podcasting, it's not going anywhere, but it's still a need. People need some encouragement. They need hope. They need motivation. And so that's what we provide. I mean, I know for me personally, I am a builder of people. In other words, encouraging people to use what God has given them to make a difference in this world. That's really what it's all about.
Yep.
And one of the reasons I'm able to do that, that's the way my mother was. I mean, look, my mother, she was a high school basketball legend. My mother's name, she passed away in 2019. But my mother, her name was Marie. she was so legendary. They call her Rebound Marie. She was bad. I'm gonna tell you something, man. She was bad. In 2015, she got inducted into her high school Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I'm serious. I mean, she was incredible. And so, but she would always tell me, she said, you got a gift. You got a gift. And you got to use that gift and do your best. She always taught me that. 3 things she taught me. She said, whatever you do, put God first. Whoever you meet, show them respect. Wherever you go, do your best. Those were the 3 things she always emphasized. And so I remember my sophomore year at VCU, I quit the team. I quit the team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I went home, and my mother said, hey, what you doing here? I said, Mom, I can't do it no more. She said, what are you talking about? I said, I just can't play for that coach no more. She said, well, tell me about it. So she said, so I said, Mom, he coach cursed me out every day. He talk about me like a dog. I said, he talk about you. She said, wait a minute now. Hold on. I said, Mom, I just can't take it. She said, let me tell you one thing. She said, I felt like quitting. She said, when your father left, she said, I felt like quitting every day, but I didn't. She said, now, you going back to that school. She pointed at me too. She said, you going back to that school. And, I thought back about, if I don't go back, she gonna kill me. She said, you going back to get that education. She said, you're not gonna let that, you're not gonna quit. You going back. And so I looked at my mother. When she told me that, I looked at my mother and I said 2 words. I said, yes, ma'am. And I ended up going back. And that was a defining moment in my life. You see, because if you quit one time, it's a little easier to quit the second time.
Yep.
And the third time, until quitting becomes a way of life. You see? And so she didn't let me quit. And that was, like I said, it was a defining moment in my life. And so just kept moving forward, man. But she was always positive. She always believed in me. And I didn't want to let her down. So but that's where that positivity come in at with me. I want to do the same for other people.
Well, your mom sounds like a powerful woman. Did she ever leave Portsmouth? Did she live there her whole life?
Her whole life.
Yeah.
Yep, her whole life. And like I said, a bunch of family is there, but yeah, she lived there her whole life. Yep.
Well, you said, 17?
Yeah, my grandmother had 17 kids, and she was 16. She was number 16. Yeah. Yeah, she was 16.
Good thing Grandma
Amazing.
kept going, I guess. Man.
I mean, it was, all them kids. I mean, 5 sets of twins. I mean, just incredible.
That's unbelievable. One set of twins is
I
a
know.
lot to deal
I
with.
know. But 5? Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And we have family reunions every year, and it's just massive. They just mad. I mean, every year, seriously, every year I go to the family reunion, I meet somebody I don't know. I'm like, who is that? I mean, it's funny, really.
And the reunions in Portsmouth?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Every year.
Cool. So how do you get these motivational speaking gigs?
Man, I got to get on the phone. I got to get on this horn, call these coaches, and then word of mouth. Word of mouth. I love Facebook. Facebook has got me some stuff.
Yeah.
And, during COVID, one of the things I started doing was I started doing these 1-minute videos.
You sent me your 1-minute videos in
You saw
December.
them?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And so just encouraging people, giving them a motivational moment in the morning to start their day. And, man, people love them. People love them. And so I took off of January, but I'm going to start them back up real soon this month. But people have told me, they said, thank you for the encouragement. I needed that. And, I just didn't realize the desperate need that people have to be inspired, to be motivated.
Yeah.
And sometimes we could take that for granted, but it's real. I even need it, And because, somebody like myself, I'm constantly putting it out, right? So it could appear. It could appear like I'm good.
You don't need it. Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah, you're human too. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I need it. So, but it's a lot of fun doing it.
And is it all people from all ages, all walks of life?
All walks of life. Although my niche is athletes and coaches. That's where I zero in at. But these principles, and you guys know this, these principles are transferable.
Yeah.
Meaning they apply to anybody, anywhere, at any time. I mean, just like, a athlete needs to be disciplined. Well, so does anybody else.
Yeah.
To reach a level of success in any area, you got to be disciplined. And I can go on and on with these principles, but
no, keep going, man.
But that's just an example because I realized this for myself, that the principles. The life-winning principles that I learned to use to become a world-class athlete are the same principles that people need to be world-class performers in the game of life. They're the same.
Yeah.
They're the same. And so that's what I'm using. That's what I bring to the table.
So what would you know how you said quitting gets a little easier each time you quit. What would you say to people who maybe have gotten really used to quitting and it's really easy for them? Like how do you go about making it harder?
Well, what I realize is this. Under pressure, most people take the path of least resistance and they revert back to what they're used to doing. You see, so if a person is used to quitting, first thing I want to do with them is change their mindset. And I want them to see, okay, what and I have them to write stuff down, because I believe when you journal, when you write stuff down, you can clearly see where you are. Where you are, where you want to go, how you're going to get there. And so I get them to journal stuff down. And I'm like, you quitting, where has that gotten you? I just start answering them questions, because the Bible says this: counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but the man of understanding will draw it out. So I'm asking them questions. Where has this quitting gotten you? What is it that you desire? What is it that you want? If you quit, can you get there? I guarantee you this, that if you don't quit, you will win. Guarantee. One of the first quotes I ever saw was in my high school locker room. It said this: winners never quit and quitters never win. Vince Lombardi.
Yep.
That was the first one.
He's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want to win, don't quit. And so, but you got to change the person's mindset. You know what I'm saying? You got to get their mindset. You got to get them focusing and moving towards something that moves them inside. Because if you don't, they'll stay in that low-level mindset of quitting, and there's no hope, at least in their minds. But if you give them something to shoot for and aspire to, oh yeah, all of a sudden they have a new perspective in life, and they moving towards something. So my whole goal is to trigger something on the inside of a person, because the answers are on the inside of people. They just have to realize that and start moving towards it. So that's how I would deal with a person who's used to quit.
That's good. Yeah, especially about it has to come from them. It has to come from within.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't be the one that changes their mind. Like, they have to change their own mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
So, Ro, tell us about one of your fondest motivational speaking moments.
Oh man. Whew. This is a good one here. Look, so I was speaking to these young people, right? And I was talking to them, and I do this demonstration. I have 2 cups of water. And what I'm teaching the kids is about making choices. And so I have 2 cups of water, and with one of the cups, I spit in one of them. And so so I said, now we're talking about making choices. Now, who would drink from this cup of spit? So nobody would drink from the cup of spit, I thought. I had a kid raise their hand.
How old was he?
Oh, these about 15, 16?
Oh, okay. He knows.
Oh, yeah, they know. They know. So the kid said, I'll do it. I said, you what? And so I forgot to add a part. What I said too was, I said, who would drink the cup of spit? So nobody said anything. And then I said, I give you $50 if you drink from the cup of spit. So that's when the person said, I drank it. I said, you what? He said, yeah, I drank it. I said, for $50. Now I pulled the money out. And so the person, I said, well, come on up front. Come on up front. So then I said, hold up. This is what I'm going to do. Because now I'm thinking, right? I'm like, oh, my goodness. I can't have this kid drink a cup of spit. I said, okay. I said, before you drink this cup of spit and before I give you the money, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour the water. I said, I'm going to pour the water out. And it was about 70 people in the room, right? I said, I'm going to pour the water out and I'm going to pass this cup around. Everybody going to spit in it. And if you drink that, I give you the money. They said, okay. I said, oh my God. So I passed the cup around.
70 people.
70. So the cup come back up, right? It was about this much pure spit, right? Oh. I kid you not.
Let's just call it 4 inches in a plastic water bottle. Yeah, so our listening audience gets the idea.
So the cup come back. I didn't want to touch it. I handed it to the person, right? A young man, about, like I said, 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. So I handed it to him. All of a sudden, the crowd go crazy. And the kid was drinking the cup of spit. And I looked around. It was coming from his mouth.
Oh.
And I couldn't. I'm serious. I couldn't believe it. I just said, man, the money's yours. I said, what y'all just saw is I mean, I was just blown away.
I mean, he had to get sick from that, right? That many people.
I was ridiculous. I mean, it almost made me want to not ever speak again. I mean,
yeah.
Oh man, it was crazy. Really, it was one of those for the ages.
Did you ever do the water thing again?
I did, but not at that level. I toned it down. I toned it down big time because I didn't want to be in that position again.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy. So you do coaching clinics too, right?
I do coaching clinics, and I love doing those coaching clinics because those coaches. I always ask coaches this question. I said, Coach, do sports build character? And they said, yeah. And I have to teach them. I said, Coach, sports don't build character. It reveals character. Mm. And I give them the example. I say, I give them an example. I said, Coach, would you want your son or daughter to grow up to be like a Dennis Rodman? I said, nah, I don't want to grow up to be like Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman now, I mean, he's going to go down as one of the greatest defenders and rebounders ever played the game. Matter of fact, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I mean, great player, but off the court, I mean, he's a character. He's a character. And so my point in talking to the coaches about that is that that's one of the biggest myths in society today. We think sports build character. It doesn't build character. It reveals character. The only thing that builds true character is daily consistent obedience to the word of God. That's the only thing that builds true character. But if a player score points, hit home runs, run touchdowns, whatever, we have a tendency to say that's a person of character. And really.
That's not right.
Yeah, not really. So, but the coaches appreciate it, once I expose them to it and reveal it. And so, that's what we got to do, though.
So if you had made the Supersonics back in the day, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
I'd probably be dead.
Yeah, you're not kidding, right?
I mean, because that lifestyle, I don't know if I could have handled it. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have handled it. And so, but I just don't know because, but I know by not making it, I was able, and I've been able to share some things with my son because he's living that life. I mean, he, and the challenges, the temptations, all that comes with it. I mean, it's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother world. Now, I would like to think that I would have used my platform to, be a positive role model, but I just don't know. Really, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I just don't know. But everything happens for a reason and for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I believe right now, in my life that I'm making the greatest impact that I can make, and even gonna make a bigger impact. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Are you going to stay in Richmond?
as far as I know, until Lord may say,
Right on.
but as far as I know, yeah, I love Richmond. Richmond's a great place, and you know what too? All the stuff we're dealing with in the world, the racial injustice, COVID. I mean, just it's real issues, and so no one person has the answer. We got to work together.
Yep.
Whether we believe that or not. I mean, seriously, we have to come together and work together. And so,
Men, women, black, white, young, old.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, where can people find Faith and Family Church? What's the address?
Sure, Faith and Family, 7900 Walmsley Boulevard. That's the address. They also go to our website, faithandfamilychurch.org. All the information is up there, and it's a great church. I'm just saying, it's a great church.
Nice.
Yes,
Sounds like it.
Yes, yes.
Is Calvin still doing his Monday, Thursday night? Calvin
He's
and Friends thing?
taking some time off, but he's reworking his strategy because it was very effective. I mean, people love it. The platform that he created, and is reaching people. And that's the platform. We had Tubby Smith on there. We had Chris Broussard.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, so it's a great platform. Also, the ability for people to interact.
Right.
With Zoom, asking questions and all that kind of stuff. So that's been great.
Well, he had that young female rapper on, and I was on that, and he saw my name, and he put me on the spot and had me ask her a question. I said, "Come on, Calvin."
What did you ask her?
I asked her who her biggest inspiration was.
It's a good question.
Great question.
Yeah. What? So we'll ask you that question. Who's your biggest inspiration?
Wow. My mother. Yep, she number one. My spiritual father, Bishop Wellington Boone. And my pastor, Calvin Duncan. Yeah,
Nice.
Calvin Duncan. And then my high school coach, John Sumner. Yeah. Those people have played a major role in my life.
You and Calvin are brothers. Y'all,
Absolutely.
Y'all love each other.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean,
Y'all are both good men.
thank you. I appreciate that.
You're both really good men.
Appreciate that.
So what's next for you? After this COVID stuff goes away, are you still Zooming or are you hitting the road a little bit?
I'll be hitting the road. And I still be doing some Zoom, but hitting the road because it's a whole. One of the things I'm working on now is I'm developing this personal development workbook. It's titled "Bring Your A Game." Bring your A game.
Yep.
Bring your A game. And again, it's helping people to identify and bring balance to their life. And so I believe there's 4 major areas in a person's life: attitude, academics, ability, and associations. Those are the 4 major areas in a person's life. And so just again, building people up so they can live a quality of life where they can make a difference. I believe people are looking for, they're looking to be, they look for something meaningful, they're looking to be fulfilled, and they look for something rewarding. And so, again, we all get that in us. So, yep, I'm going to hit the road. I want to talk to as many of these athletes and coaches as I can, even our young people as well, and especially our young black males. They're becoming, unfortunately, they're becoming an endangered species. Yeah. And I know that's kind of some strong terminology, but, I mean, you see it's being played out. But I'm not losing hope.
It doesn't have to be that way.
I'm a product of that. I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm a product of that. Most of the people I grew up with, and I'm talking about the young men, you know, they're not here anymore, or they're in jail. But my mother took a stand, and she said, nope, I'm not going to let the streets get you. And so just from experience and what I've been through, I know we can make a difference. And then I'm fighting for my grandkids. I have a total of 5 grandkids, but I have 4 boys, 4. And so I want to be the right kind of example for them and make a difference. So that's what's next. I mean,
well, Rolando, you are an inspiration. You are a fantastic example for your kids and your grandkids, and anybody who listens to you. So I really appreciate you coming out tonight. You didn't have to. You could have Zoomed it very easily. Thank you. You are a treasure to me, Rolando. So I really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you, Coach Lamb.
Yes, sir. I appreciate what you guys are doing. I've enjoyed it, man, and I love this.
Awesome.
If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to subscribe through whichever app you're using. To share your thoughts, head over to our website at podso1.io, and there you can comment on episodes or send us feedback directly. Thanks for listening.